Yeah, so from what I understand, you're good friends with these two racers, and while I know they can't hear us now, they may watch this back. So I don't know if you want to pick a favorite or if you want to make a prediction about who you think's going to win.
No favorites. I hope they both do well. But yeah, definitely good friends of mine. Known them for a while. It looks like they're starting out with a very standard uncle route. Seems very popular in these later versions here.
Yeah. It's real quick to check. No prerequisites for these locations. You get a tree very early, which has the potential to have bombs or some other items which may be very useful early. Just a bunch of rubies from the first chest and the first tree there.
For myself, I like to try and pair it with all of escapes so I get that NMG feel, but it definitely adds a lot of safety to whichever route you pick in the beginning.
Yeah, in general, it's good to try to consolidate as many different locations as you can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you wait a long time for the mirror, for example, to try to consolidate a light and dark world location, and then the mirror ends up being at one of those locations, and you end up having a lot of regrets afterwards.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that in some other areas.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a very useful item. It's an item that is a prerequisite for a lot of other locations, not by itself, but usually in combination with others. But it's also a weapon that does not require any ammo to use, so they can use that to kill just about anything. Might not be the easiest weapon to use, but it is effective against just about every enemy and boss in the whole game.
Yeah, definitely very solid. It looks like they're taking the Sanctuary route afterwards, which is very good. Can get the Agnum item check, and lots of tree pulls and bush crabs and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we get to see if Agnum is, well, we can confirm if it is required now, but we cannot confirm it is not required for other reasons. Ooh. I think that was the hook shot.
I definitely do believe that was the hook shot as well.
Yeah, that's good intel. Unfortunately, for these players, that means they will have to do Agnum. Good news is that means they're not going to be doing this seed completely lampless, most likely, anyway. So that's, I guess, looking on the bright side.
What's also interesting, too, is that having the knowledge that the hook shot's there, the seed might actually not lead you immediately to get that hook shot. So if you're ever having trouble figuring out what kind of route you want to take or option you want to take, you can kind of default to Agnum if that becomes an option, or kind of continue on with your current route until you can work it in. I kind of like it as like an emergency backup. If I'm not sure what to do, I'm like, well, I need to do this anyway, so I can do that while I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Agnum's Tower is a pretty straightforward dungeon. As much focus as it takes to move your hands from the controllers, as much brain power as it takes to complete. So it's definitely a good time to do some planning.
You get to listen to some very hype music too.
All right, we have
my favorite.
Special crystal on Eastern Palace and regular crystals on Desert and the Tower of Hera. I like seeing 3 crystals in the light world personally. EmoSaru's in town now. Very, very lucrative location in total. There's quite a lot of chests here. No bombs yet. Both players going here without a bomb, hoping to get some from one of these chests. They're going to have to come in later.
Speaking of lucrative, lots of money too. So that's very handy. You can get the bombs for it, but...
Ooh, the guy's peddling a cane of Burna today.
They just took that old man's cane.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to see a bomb shop here. Actually, I didn't want to check the other cave, which may require a bomb before coming down here. And Vascos looks like going to do the same. The only clip that we're allowed to do in this run is the chin clip, so let's see if we get a good one. Ooh, not the best I've seen.
One for the classic. A good choice for sure. Lots of chicken clip variations.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some pretty fancy things you can do with those chickens. You can get them, you can clip them pretty much through any object anywhere on the world, if you know the tricks. Oh, and bombs in a chest.
that
hurts a little right after you spend cash on them.
Yeah, they did get the bomb upgrade though, so it's very handy. So finding the extra blueberries isn't too bad, but if you have full 10 bombs, it's not a fun feeling.
Ooh, very similar chicken clip from Vascos. I think the shield looks, or I think the sprite looks a little better with the shield in front of it. It always seems a little, I don't know, a little empty without it.
It's funny how it goes. Some of them definitely feel a little bit more empty. You get so used to doing an MG or something, you're like, whoa.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a rod. We don't know for sure if either of the rods are actually going to be necessary, but it's very likely that the fire rod will. Power gloves are another very important progressive item.
Yep. Good, bomb upgrade.
Another bomb upgrade, also important. Yeah, so with the power gloves and the hammer, they'd be able to get to the Dark World, but without the Moon Pearl, they'd be trapped wherever they happen to be. So they're not going to want to do that just yet. But the power glove does open up a few other locations on its own.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting if they got to the lantern and possibly the mirror, because then that would give them Death Mountain access.
Was that the ice rod? You know, I couldn't quite tell.
Ice rod. I got that.
I just went with one. I wasn't sure. I just said one and hoped I was right. There's a little color bleeding, I think. Anyway, enough excuses. Going straight into the quarreling brother's house without checking out what the item is first. I don't mind this decision. In fact, this is something I do sometimes as well. If you're very low on bombs, I wouldn't recommend it just for the chance that you could save one. But if you're high on bombs, then might as well just go.
Yeah, and you can also kind of gauge where it's like, oh, I don't have too many items. Chances are maybe this will be something. But not today.
A little cash. With bombs and a weapon, I imagine we'll see the path down to Lake Hylia coming up next after checking out the dam. And maybe we'll see fake flippers of the Ice Rod Cave afterward. Or maybe we'll get real flippers along the way and see real flippers.
It's pretty interesting. They do have quite a bit of money, so going to Zora isn't too far off, and it is within the logic.
Yeah, because they do have the gloves. That's actually one of the two ways that you can get to Zora's domain properly. The other being the flippers, and of course the improper way is the fake flippers. But that is not required ever by the logic. It is allowed, however, in most races. EmoSaru, it's going for the chest twice there. Little muscle memory.
It's a bit of a subtlety, but to see how people do the dam part first. Do they drain the water, or do they go straight for the chest? When I first started, I was always nervous, like, well, if I drain the water and go back in, will that reset? So I go for the chest first, and just never really changed.
Right. Yeah, I don't think anyone is technically better. I mean, if you want to get into like the real unlikely scenarios, you could open the chest first and maybe get the boots, which will make you go faster for the second part. But you know, that's really not likely. But
it's a good point, though. I wasn't really thinking about that. And we're about to have the real hype cave.
Oh yeah.
At least to me, early game really helps get the progression going in the start of the game. So to me, it's kind of, this is where I look forward to the most.
Yeah, there's a few options to kill these Moldorms that they have right now. The hammer works, but its hitbox, especially when you're facing north, is really really difficult. Ice Rod actually kills in one hit. Cannon Burner would work too, and of course bombs are maybe the best option. If you're good with them, you don't want to accidentally blow yourself up or anything.
Yeah, it can be surprising just how good it is to get early magic, because you never know if you'll find yourself in a situation where you're low on bombs, but you do happen to have an ice rod or something.
Yeah, they pick up the 2 vials in the Uncle area. Pretty common for people to pick those up. Other than that, you're pretty much relying on a drop at this stage of the game. Or if you pick up half magic, it'll get refilled, and then you'll be pretty good on magic for a while, and you'll be able to make really good use of any magic weapons after that. We are seeing fake flippers from EmoSaru. Fake Flippers is a Japanese 1.0 version exclusive glitch, which is the version that the randomizer is built upon. For some reason, you're able to move for a single frame after you land in water before the game kicks you out if you don't have flippers. And if you're able to use a screen transition on that one frame, the game does not check if you have flippers after the screen transition. So you're able to just bypass the flipper check entirely.
This game has a lot of nuance. It's really cool that something like that is in the game and that people can discover it and then even utilize it in such a format as Randomizer. It looks like she's taking save and quit. Curious to see where she's going to go. Eastern, perhaps.
Yeah, just checking that. Checking out what was on the island. Of course, that's just intel for now because they will not be able to access it for a good while, most likely. But getting the hobo item. Vascos doing a setup for fake flippers. Ooh, he actually did have it. He got what's called the funny jump, which happens on some particular pixels when you do a particular input. But with a different input, you can still get it. It's not the kind of thing that you expect most players to know about. Even most experienced runners probably have never seen it or wouldn't know what to do in that case. Fortunately, he died and totally changing his plan. Going to be following Emo to Eastern Palace.
It could be a blessing in disguise, though. I find that sometimes a death is almost a lot of times beneficial because it kind of forces you to take a new plan, and then you can end up routing what you may have been doing later. Or, you know, especially for me, I seem to get early deaths, so it's like it's a good way to get on a new track, a new game plan going.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got our first medallion, which we have no idea if it's going to be required. We know one of the pendants is going to be at Swamp Palace, which means that the Fire Rod is definitely required because there's 3 dungeons that do require it. Or, well, I guess that's not true. I guess you have 2 options for Ice Palace, Fire Rod or Bombos. But there's still a chance that no medallion is going to be required for this seed.
It's definitely very interesting. And then being Swamp, it's a long dungeon and a lot of people try to gamble it or save it for later. But it being a green pendant, you know, do people gamble left side and then just go for the green pendant and the right side only? Or do they go for the whole thing and hope for strike gold?
Yeah, it's on its own, it is the dungeon with the most potential item locations. But because of how many prerequisites it has, doesn't always have the most stuff in it. But you know how Randomizer goes. Whenever you gamble on a location early, there's nothing there. And whenever you put it off, there's always something there.
Mm-hmm. Like Fire Rod being in Turtle Rock, putting off Turtle Rock to find the Fire Rod.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, both players are making their way into Eastern Palace here. Finding the mirror. You know, I feel like the mirror or the Moon Pearl is in Eastern Palace a lot, but I'm sure that's just confirmation bias.
So, green pendant Swamp, finding the mirror. Well, we know Swamp is required just about this point.
Oh yeah, already got the hammer too. They're gonna get the hook shot soon.
Well,
we know what the hook shot is.
Yeah, hook shot.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they're going to Swamp.
It's turning into a very interesting seed so far. A very fun one, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, coming in here without the lamp, these aren't really the hardest dark rooms, especially, you know, the first one. They won't be doing the second one if they don't find the bow here. But yeah, Eastern seems to be a dungeon that pays off a lot to go into early. I definitely like to do it myself.
Yeah, I kind of view it as part of the overworld, so it's never really a bad thing to go to it. If you have strong progression, I'd say try put it off, but I don't think it's ever a bad decision, especially because you might be thinking, well, my opponent might be going into Eastern, and so if there is something in there, I don't want to put it off too long. So there's a little bit of a mind game that goes to it, but I think no matter what, it's a pretty safe, inoffensive option to take.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're seeing that dark room here. Their objective here is going to be to try to find a key under a pot. Emo is using the hammer as a sort of a locational indicator. It's good because it'll scare away the enemies if they're near you, kill them if they're right in front of you, and it'll also break the pot, so it seemed to work out quite well.
Incidentally, I was checking the race between these two earlier, and I'm 99% sure they actually had to do this exact same dark room or rather, they did this dark room without a sword and the hammer. So it's kind of funny to see it repeated a little bit here.
All right, there's blue rupee. Was that 3 items? Were you paying more attention than I was? Okay, tracker confirmed, 3 items. Okay, so the only thing they need to come back here for later is going to be the crystal whenever they get the bow. They'll be able to do that. May wait for the lamp as well, or at least not rush it after they get the bow, just to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, they might be able to pair it with Palace of Darkness, especially with the mirror. So that's very handy there.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, do these two like discuss routing with each other, because they're making a lot of the same decisions? Oh wow. Oh, okay, never mind. Vascos is doing the Houlihan room. With this, he'll be able to get enough rupees to do Zora's domain, and a little bit extra, in case something comes up. And Emo found the Moon Pearl, so that's going to be Dark World access when combined with the Power Gloves and the Hammer, and that's what it looks like we're going to see right away.
Yeah, it's a very interesting decision. I can definitely see why you'd want to go with Zora, but I'm about to see the cave, the swamp cave, see what it has for us today.
No particular nicknames for this cave. It's just the Northeast Dark World Swamp Cave until we see what's in there, and then we'll decide what to call it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a chameleon cave. It kind of changes its colors depending on the seed.
Yeah, we're seeing first part of Hyrule Castle. I imagine Vascos might follow that up with the back of Hyrule Castle to get that pearl. Oh, well, the bottle does open up one more location. Yeah, and I guess a blue potion is a nice thing to have. Yeah, well, not a completely worthless cave.
Worthwhile sort of cave.
Yeah. Well, depending on, I mean, if the sick kid has something, or if she's very near to death and uses that potion, we'll say it was worthwhile to go to.
I really do like this route though, going to the stump kid over here, and then because you have the mirror, you can do the shovel game, and then go straight into town, and then cash in the bottle, and then you're back in Dark World.
Yeah, that actually is quite efficient. She'll probably check out this cave. Sometimes this cave is referred to, I think, as Cave 45, because that's the number that it's identified by on one map somewhere on the internet. The classic name we had for it was something to do with flowers. I don't remember, because I never ran 100%. I like to call it the Haunted Grove Cave, because it's just south of the Haunted Grove. One pot, one hammer for the ball and chain guard. Nice, quick kill.
Unfortunately, just a burrito.
Oh, wow. So our bottom left of the map is where all the pendants are. Myra and Thieves Town are holding the other 2 pendants. We already knew Swamp was the green pendant, but it's nice to confirm it, just in case the hospital might have been lying. And Vascos is going to find that Moon Pearl while Emo plays in the dirt. Can take between 1 and 30 digs to get the item here. Originally, it was stuck at a value, I think 15 for a long time before deciding to randomize it. When that happened, I actually thought that 30 might have been a little bit too high of a number, because I thought that might be a little difficult for newer players, but they assured me that it was fine, and we haven't really had any complaints since. So,
and finding the powder too, so they can check the back cave, and that just kind of would tie into the town check here. But it looks like she's opting to save and quit, so it'll be very interesting to see where she goes from here.
Yeah, like you said, she could have just kind of used the mirror, and she would have been right there in town already. But it's not a long walk from Sanctuary, since the portal is on the north side of town anyway.
Maybe just the way she wants to go through the town, kind of from a top down rather than a bottom up.
Yeah.
And Vasco's checking the swamp cave over here too. He'll find his
set the bomb a little early.
Triple rupees.
Yeah, not too low on rupees right now, or either player.
So what kind of makes it hype for me when I watch is to see, like, because red rupees are very common. So trying to see, okay, how many red rupees in a row will we get?
Yeah, there was an old back when we used to do bingos in the vanilla game. There was an old bingo goal which was like open like 10 chests with blue rupees in it. And the first time I was like, wow, that's so many. How can you find that many? Well, apparently there's like 40. So okay, not actually 40, but yeah, there's quite a lot, and a lot of them are consolidated well in the original game.
EmoSaru entering Skowitz. It's a very solid play, I think. I tried to gamble it the other night and it didn't work out, but it seems to be somewhat heavily weighted. A little less so in V27, but it's quick, very simple to do, and you never know, might find something very important here.
Yeah, it's not too much different from checking Overworld. It takes a little more time, but one of the things about Skullwoods is once you've partially completed it, because of how segmented it is, you really don't have to redo any of the content that you completed when you come back here to complete the dungeon later. So even if you don't find anything good, the time spent here is well used.
Speaking of finding something good, though, the 10 bomb upgrade.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's only one of those, I believe, in the item pool. The ammunition capacity upgrades are meant to replicate the capitalism fairy, as we call her in the original game, because you got to give her so much money. She'll upgrade your bomber arrow count every time you give her 50 rupees, and the last time 5 every time, except for the last one, which is 10 for each, for a maximum of 70 arrows and 50 bombs.
Which is very nice, most certainly. And was that in the mushroom on Bumper Cave? It might have been a red rupee, but I thought I saw the mushroom real briefly.
Well, without saying what it is, the safe guess is a red rupee. But I'm going to trust your eyeballs. Is it 100 per upgrade? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, because it's like 1,400 total. If it was 50 each, it would be so cheap. Still take just as long, though. Like I said, it never did 100%. So but to be fair, we didn't even do that in 100%.
It looks like Vascos is actually opting to... yeah, it looks like he's going to mirror up and go up through here. So it's pretty interesting. A little bit of a divergence here. Especially because the early game was very similar. But ooh, and a sword for EmoSaru. That will be very handy.
Oh, yeah. I'd probably do Thief's Town. I'd probably get all the items from it, but not kill the boss unless the boss is holding an item right now. Especially with the sword.
Yep, they have the hammer, so it definitely makes it more safer for going through the dungeon. And they do have the mirror, so if they want to opt to only do the first few chests, they can get it really quickly too. And continuing the rest of the dungeon from that point doesn't take too much more time, so it would be an interesting play if they decide to go for it. But with the sword, it definitely makes blind much more appealing.
Oh yeah, blind is kind of tough to kill with just the hammer. I mean, they could use the Cane of Burna, especially if they could find some more magic before getting to him. That's actually a very simple way, and of course they do have the blue potion if the situation was dire. But with the sword, you can at least try to save some magic. Or save the potion, as it were. Obviously, your magic will refill after you kill him. If they can get through it without the potion, that would be nice.
So, a quick question, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe... Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Emo just, I think, mirrored by accident. Meant to hammer, but had the mirror equipped.
Ooh, I've done that. So the Cane of Burna, I believe, in the way the game works, that it takes about 16 ticks of magic to initiate, and then about 1 tick per second after. And then the cane, I think, or the cape, I believe, is a constant 4 per second from the time of activation. So my understanding is that if you're using one of the two safeties for a long time, you want to use the cane over the cape. But if you're only doing it for a short time, you want to use the cape.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Yeah, the cape doesn't really have like a startup cost like the cane does, but the cane is more efficient overall. Plus, the cane also does damage to some things, including blind. So It's not only a safe way, but a very easy way to do the fight.
It's very, very interesting that one causes lag but damages, and then over time it's more efficient. And then the other one, you know, kind of contrasts that. Just some of those happy little things that make the game very interesting to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's almost like they knew. Vascos checking a 50-50 bomb bush there and getting winning the coin flip. Down to 2 bombs, so even that one is actually an important thing to find there.
Speaking of bomb, there's actually a bomb in that lower right chest that in the room EmoSaru is in. So a common thing people can do is that, especially if you want like a quick bomb, you can go down, grab the pot, throw it at the enemy, get the bomb, and then you've already cleared that room a little bit to get through.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely like to do. Used to do that in RBO as well. Ooh.
Unfortunate death for EmoSaru.
Yeah. Slashed at the enemy, hit the spike, which knocked her back into the other spike, just enough to die.
How rude.
Yeah.
Looks like she's opting to leave the dungeon for now. I don't blame her, actually. I think it's a pretty good idea. You don't want to enter the dungeon and be aggravated over the dungeon, especially when there's a lot of real estate left for them to explore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you're not confident going into a dungeon from the start, you're thinking, well, I mean, I'm already here, might as well give it a try, see what happens, and it doesn't go well, then yeah, you might want to just leave before it affects your mindset. And Magic Bat hitting on another red rupee.
It's almost the boots. Has his color right.
Yeah.
That's what I think of every time I see the rupee. I'm like, oh, it's so close, but it's not quite it.
Not quite. All right, Emo's experiencing a little indecision. Let's see where she opts to go next. She hasn't done the front of Escape yet, the front of Hyrule Castle, so that may be what we're seeing now.
Very true. And now that she has a weapon, it'll make it much more appealing. Vascos already did it, so we know it's in there, but that's one of those areas, again, it's kind of like part of the overworld. Definitely probably want to clear it sooner than later.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has a troll item that can catch some people, just because you can get by without it for so long, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, straight to oh, no, okay, the
dark room. Oh, wow. Without the lamp. I'm not so confident doing this, but other people are. Oh, man, Vascos is having a lot of trouble in Thieves' Time as well. With the powder, yeah, he's going to go ahead and try to heal up.
That's very smart.
The worst thing is to die while you're trying to powder an anti-fairy. Especially if it's the anti-fairy that kills you.
Yeah, it's not a fun feeling. And the thing with this room is that it's just a lot of patience. The enemy RNG can be terrible, but for the most part, if you wait it out, you can get through, but it feels like a long wait to do it. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, sometimes it can just be awful. All right, we may have no idea what's going on with Emo here if the item is invisible. Some items that come from chests are invisible. I think she's confident that she got it. Yeah, but I don't know what it was. Oh, man. And there's the lamp in Thieves' Town. Wow, if EmoSaru had gotten just a couple rooms farther, she would have had that.
Yeah, because that's one part of Ganon, too. So having the lantern, now they just need a sword upgrade or the cape. And then Vascos could immediately go do Ganon for the hookshot. That could...
Well, they'll need the boots, too. But it'll at least cut out part of the process. I didn't see anything new in Saru's menu, but we only saw it for a moment. Hopefully it was nothing like great. I'm pretty sure the Titan Mitts are one of the things that would not show up on the screen when you open a chest in the dark, so...
Do you know which items do and do not show? For
no, I don't know exactly. I mean, It has something to do with sprite layering, priority, but I don't have like an exact list of which ones do and don't.
It's probably something like rupees or the like.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the
shovel.
rupee counter either, so I didn't see if it moved. Thinks she's gonna dig right away. Nope. Well, maybe go to the Dark World or consolidate. Although that wouldn't really consolidate anything. Okay, just a little more indecision. But yeah, gonna end up digging right away.
Her plan might have been to go to pod and then try and work it in, but then maybe she figured she should go to shovel area here first. But
yeah,
a little hard to say. It's kind of still a lot little options that they have, and none of them seem kind of too clear cut at the moment.
Yeah, and there's not really likely to be a more efficient time to do this. So doing it now, I mean, just gets it out of the way. It's one less thing you have to remember a fetch quest. Yeah, Vascos. Low hearts. Gonna use the potion first.
I think that's very smart.
Yeah, if he gets low on hearts again, might switch to the Cane of Burnout. Otherwise, it's worth it just to finish it up with the sword. Yeah.
It's a good fight. For blueberries. But he did need bombs, so it's not actually the worst.
Oh yeah, actually he was very low. That's actually not a bad thing to find.
And if it happens to be pestle, then we are 1/3 of the way there. So certainly not the worst thing.
Yeah, for sure. Emo is going to go up to Death Mountain without the lamp again. This is another dark room you got to get through. Most people agree this is not one of the harder ones once you know the basic path. Not a lot of hazards or obstacles or enemies in the way. It's not a very complex path through.
Yeah, thankfully you can kind of feel your way through, and it kind of has a little bit of a built-in guide to get you through too.
Yeah. Yeah, and the sword helps a lot. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of locations that can be checked right now on Death Mountain with the Mirror and the Hammer opening up access to East Death Mountain. Tower of Hera is also available. Without a fire source, it might not be completable. Another potential disadvantage for not being able to continue in Thieves Town, if that does end up being the case for EmoSaru.
Interestingly, because they don't have the Titan's Mitts, they can't do Dark World Death Mountain, so Hookshot Cave is inconsequential, and they already have the hammer. So Emo, she can just go straight over to his chest and doesn't need to worry.
That's right. Nothing great there inside of Spectacle Rock. Spectacle Rock, appropriately named, of course, because it kind of looks like a pair of glasses. It's not a joke name we came up with. That's actually the official name of it. All right, let's figure out if the Tower of Hera is going to be completable as of now.
It's a little bit peculiar. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, those are my kids that you're hearing in the background. They're not actually my kids. They're the neighborhood kids.
So Saru is coming up here as a sequence break, but we know from Vascos that this is actually not a sequence break. So in terms of doing around... Ooh, okay. And what are those? It's just interesting how it'll play into your game plan when you come up here as a sequence break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so you might get the
boots are nice.
And think you're out of sequence, but really, she's actually not.
Yeah. Yeah, boots are nice, but it's really unfortunate, that she's going to have to come back to Tower of Hera later. As long as there's nothing else really important inside of the Tower of Hera, that could be the last thing that she does before Ganon's Tower. Coming in there in the Dark World and then mirroring to do Hera and then warping back to the Dark World is a very efficient way of finishing that up. So it may not be, tremendously consequential in the end.
Now, I'm not entirely sure, but I think I saw the Master Sword on a floating island, and if that's the case, then they are a bit away from getting it in the negative.
Yeah, I believe that is what it was.
Another bomb upgrade. Happy day.
Yeah, they got a lot of extra space in their bomb bag right now. Both of them kind of low on bomb count with a high capacity.
I think a route to the bomb shop may be prudent in the near future.
Oh yeah, you can get like 30 for 100 rupees. Not gonna find a better deal than that anywhere in Hyrule.
It's pretty interesting. The lady with the potion shop, she's in town, has good real estate, so she can charge a little bit more. Dark World Bomb Dude, a little out of the way, but his wares are top notch.
That's right. That's a economic lesson from Link to the Past Randomizer.
Vascos attempting to get a mini break there. Oh, and there's the bow.
Oh man,
and the fire rod.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good cave. I think that's this seed's hype cave for sure.
Yep. I kind of like to call them hype cave, hyper cave, and a hypus cave in the order in which I get to the three. But
that's a very optimistic way of looking at it. Very positive. Yeah, but I gotta say though, unfortunately, again for EmoSaru, with the hammer and the bow, she can finish Palace of Darkness and Eastern, but without the lamp, it's just going to be a little more difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure she's okay with digging the dark room, but the problem is that, again, it's kind of, you might be thinking, well, this is a sequence break, or she might have deduced that the lamp is in fact in these, and
right.
You know, trying to play along to it. But the bow and the fire rod will lead her away from these a little bit, but she's got a lot to work with now. She's got a lot of options. It's really, really fortunate.
Yeah, and looks like she's going to go straight for the dungeons. Not going to check out the few overworld locations. There are very few and very far between, the Pyramid and Catfish. Though neither have done Zora yet, so maybe she'll choose to consolidate that with those. That'll probably be a good idea after Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace.
What's interesting too is that Vascos is doing Hera. So we're going to see if there's a great difference between potential items here to where it leads them. Oh
yeah. Oh, the no bonk jump, even with the boots.
Oh, that's really good.
I know you like your pixel perfect tricks.
It's still get nerve-wracking though. When I look at jumps like that, I'm like, oh, it's a little unsettling. But that was very well done. Very well done.
Yeah. Alright, he has the option of using either the sword or the hammer on Moldorm. The hammer is going to do twice as much damage, but it is a little harder to use, a little bit less safe. Personally, I like to equip the hammer, but use the sword if I'm feeling a little scared, and only use the hammer when I'm sure it's going to connect, just for safety. 2 really quick hits, and looks... oh wow, I thought a few of those hits were going to work. Okay, got the third one in. Perfectly safe.
This is a very good fight. I know for me, I originally had the sword, and then I fell. I was like, okay, forget that. I'm using the hammer. But I like your idea. I think that's definitely the best one to go with.
Yeah, I like to play a little safe instead of too crazy. Moldorm was dropped his vanilla item, a heart container. So nothing too important there. Nothing too important that EmoSaru is missing out on as of now.
Well, it's pretty interesting too, because she might not get to the lamp for a long time, and then by the time she finds it, she might just nope out the rest of the dungeon. So in a small way, it could potentially be a bit of a time save, despite a little bit of the time loss.
Yeah, that's true. Just a little compensation for the trouble. Anything exciting happened in Palace of Darkness so far? I like that dash to that conveyor room. It's kind of a funny strategy. In normal runs, you would never go to that room. but it's a very safe strat that was kind of designed a long time ago when people were considering making 100% with map completion run, which never got to be done. But there are actually optimized strategies for a few rooms, like the trap rooms in like Desert Palace and Thieves Town that you would never go in. There are actual optimizations already in those rooms because speedrunners are crazy.
Vascos getting his bow and fire rod. It's to be interesting to see where he goes. I imagine probably very similar plan as to Saru here.
Yeah, I would think so.
Could always go for the Skullwood play though.
Oh yeah. You know, as long as there's other lucrative places to check, you know, other worthwhile things, I might put that off until I have the book, or at least try to. Just in case. Sure. Just so you can check that pedestal. It is nice to knock out crystal dungeons early though. And there could be something else important there.
It is interesting though that they got the two items at the same time. So in terms of breadcrumbs, they could be on, you know, like it could be, you know, they're both somewhat fair options. But it looks like he is going to go for the pod play.
Yeah. Well, I saw a key in one of the chests in this dark room. Didn't catch what was in the other, if it was even displayed.
No, she gets to go through the maze, which I think it's probably the funnest dark room, but it's also the one that can probably trip you up the most of all of them besides Mire. So you want to make sure that you do it well, but
yeah,
it feels really good to do.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest ones for me. Usually what I do is I just do the hammer jump and then get the bottom right chest in the dark room and just leave the bottom left or the top left chest, as long as it's not the big key. That's like one of the few chests I like to leave behind in dungeons. I don't even like to try because it's too much of a hassle. But I think I'm also the only person in the world that thinks that the dark room in Turtle Rock is difficult. That might be the hardest one for me, actually.
I remember someone mentioning a while back that they actually, for some reason, had trouble with it, but then did better at some of the other ones. So I think there is a bit of a preference, but maybe a bit more uncommon.
All right, both players now in this exact same room, but with a lot of other conditions different at this point. Always nice to see somehow it can sync up like to this level, even with so many other things different.
And there's the cape. That's very interesting. So Vascos can now do Ganon, but EmoSaru may. I'll know she's familiar with the dark room. It's Ganon Tower is a very daunting dark room. If you have the fire out, it's not as bad, but it's definitely one that may cause a lot of apprehension in players, myself included.
Yeah, I guess when we're talking about dark rooms, we barely even mention those because it's just so uncommon for anybody to even try to do those. But yeah, you can't improvise those even if you know them pretty well. Like you have to go into those with practice. Or you're just not gonna, you're just not gonna be able to get through them. But Vascos is not gonna have that problem today.
Yeah, it's pretty curious because I'd say Saru has an advantage at the moment in terms of, how far she is in relation to the seat itself. But Vascos having the lamp, I think, definitely is the great equalizer here. So while it looks like he might be a little bit behind, he has more to gain over time.
Yeah, and of course there's a chance that that lamp advantage could be hugely negative in the long run. If, for example, he goes straight to Agnum's tower, gets the hook shot, goes straight to Swamp to full clear it, and finds nothing there, and Emo's route might take her never to Swamp, and there could be a whole extra dungeon search for him in the end. Of course, that's just some worst case scenario speculation for him. But we'll see what happens.
It's certainly very interesting, and it kind of ties into what you were saying, where the way these players can write the game very differently and then end up in a very similar conclusion. Just a little nuance that, you know, kind of adds the spice to the rando meal where, you know, either everything works out in the end or it creates just a vastly different scenario.
Oh yeah. Ooh, Emo's can use that potion on EmoSaru. With the weak sword, you can't just run up and slash him. So the options to do damage to him are much more limited. In the second phase, you can use the hammer, but it's very difficult. You can do spins with the fighter sword, but it's slow and takes a million. With the bow, you can just kind of machine gun right into his crystal and end him quickly, as you just saw there.
Yeah, this is a very good fight. Got the Gatling gun action going. So be very curious to see where she goes from here. I wouldn't be surprised if she mirrored and went into Eastern.
Ooh, I would have expected to see that first, actually. But we're not going to see it. She may not be as confident in the Dark Room in Eastern Palace. Again, that's another one that some people have a lot of trouble with. It's one you don't have to do, I think, as often maybe as some of the others. So maybe it's not as well practiced.
It's a very good point. The Iger room can be very daunting as well. I would say that's probably one of the harder ones too, especially if you're not used to it. There's a pot in the top left corner that has a magic refill. But if you're all the way at the top of the screen, you actually can't lift the pot, so you have to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then with the way the wall lines up on the left, you can't pick it up either. So like, it's not uncommon for players, myself included, to get caught up on that. Once you learn it, it's not too bad, but going in there without a little bit of practice, it's a very trolly dark room.
Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing, looks like Skullwoods here for EmoSaru. With that fire rod, you know, I'm wondering if maybe she was realizing that she was sequence breaking so much, thinking about everything that was open. Maybe she wanted to come back to Thieves, but just wants to finish this first. Maybe. Hard to say for sure.
It's not too bad, especially having the boots. That actually really helps going back through Thieves Town. Some of the dungeons actually, the boots help somewhat, but they don't help as much as you'd think. And I think Thieves Town is one of the dungeons where you have a lot of long hallways and a lot of almost dead space. So the boots can really play into it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've done Bonk Rocks or the King's Ledge area yet either, hey?
I don't think we've seen those, no. I've just got the boots. They haven't checked out any boot locked locations, really.
I do think it would be a good play if she killed Moth here and then maybe went into Thieves Town. She might keep gambling it, but again with the boots, it's not too bad to go through. And it's one of those things where it might be eating in the back of your mind, and you're just like, okay, I want to get out of my head so I can focus on everything else.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, Vascos haven't already used that potion earlier. Didn't have one available to help him with EmoSaru. That's unfortunate, but he'll run right back in for a rematch. He's gonna make EmoSaru pay.
So actually, this boss is a lot scarier than maybe some people feel. Green Mail, 7 hearts, and a fighter sword. Definitely a tricky fight. I would even be a little bit hesitant coming in, just because of the time sink and then how much damage can get eaten up very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean the sword difference. I mean between the fighter sword and what you'd be intended to have here is huge, because you can't just use the mobility that you have to dodge and just do regular slashes on him. Your mobility is much more hindered when you use any other weapon, which makes his attacks much more effective against you.
Looks like Saru is going to try that hammer strat on Moth.
That's a
this
tough
is a
fight.
strat I'm not very well practiced with, and I feel like you really need to be comfortable with the hitboxes and hurtboxes, and unfortunately it takes death here to Moth. It's really unfortunate. Not having the magic to go back in can be a huge hindrance.
Yeah, there's a few magic pots fairly early on. I think she'll check that chest first. You can get as much as you need to finish the dungeon. Plus, Malthael is a very quick boss to get back to after a death, much quicker than EmoSaru at least. So she may choose to try it. Maybe not. Maybe gonna come back later.
Yeah, she'll probably find a way to refill magic. There actually is in this double mummy and a jelly room over here. There is past there a bomb wall where you can get a full magic refill. So it's not a bad option to go for, as obnoxious as this room is. But it looks like she's going to try and get the big key, hope that she can cash in for something real quick here. Maybe some progression, and then continue on.
Yeah, Vascos was doing the hammer strat on the second phase there this time.
Very good.
Had a lot more luck with that than he did with the bow.
It's kind of funny. Some players will have their more niche or unique way to deal with something, and it turns out to be more effective than what one may consider standard or vanilla.
Yeah, for sure. So another pixel perfect bomb jump there. I guess these players don't know how to do the dash strat, maybe. Personally, I like doing it this way. I don't like doing the dash. For one thing, you have to change strategies if you happen to not have boots. Plus, it just requires a kind of internal timing that I don't like to rely on.
Yeah, you can definitely. Like, I think I saw like a player like WQ set up where you do like 2 sword slashes and then you can time it. There's a lot of little things you can do, but definitely I think they feel confident in their execution, and it shows too because they're doing very well with that. For those that may not be aware, if you do the bonk dash bomb jump, you actually increase the pixel tolerance you have by 4 pixels to a total of a 6 pixel tolerance from the gap of the hole in which you bomb jump across. So it's a very, very good safety to do if you're a little bit afraid of lining up the pixel perfect bomb jump.
Yep, and that's why it's the most common strategy that we see from speedrunners of the game in both Tower of Hera and Skullwoods. Vascos did choose to do Eastern Palace right after Palace of Darkness. Kind of what I expected to see from Emo. So we already know that all the items here have been acquired, so it'll just be a crystal. No surprises coming here.
She may feel that because of the death that perhaps she's a little bit behind and might have felt it was a gamble to take.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, you have no idea what the status of the race is. You gotta make some assumptions and maybe adjust your play based on that. Ooh. I hate missing an arrow in the greeny room. Oh man. It just goes so bad so fast.
Given that torch a little bit of his angst. It's something that I think gets a little bit understated is a little bit of the nuance in the movement and the expression between the runners and the little things they do. I find that to be almost as interesting as the decision making itself.
Yeah, oh man, Emo really lucky that she doesn't have magic here. Probably because she's not going to go in here in the dark because of it. Although she may just try to find some magic and they go right back there.
That would have been very curious, though, to see the dark room. That would have been exciting, but like you said, I think it's probably for the best.
Yeah, I don't know if she maybe forgot or was actually intending to do the rooms in the dark. Vasco's fighting Armos, going to try to do a quick kill. Not quite getting the quickest kill, but still kept the guys under control well enough. I didn't get out of hand for his third crystal, actually.
We're starting to come to a little bit of a bottleneck, though, without the mitts or a way into desert or the lake. So she might actually be finding that lamp sooner than later here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm starting to think that Swan Palace may actually be useful in this seed, as we had jokingly predicted right at the beginning. Or maybe, yeah, maybe we weren't joking. Maybe we just knew. Maybe we're actually smart. And of course, I say that because the hookshot being another important item that we know we can acquire fairly soon will open up that in its entirety.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that Vascos can actually go to Ganon Tower anytime now, but it seems like he's opting to actually go to a very similar route to Saru again, which is Skullwoods.
All right, it looks like we are going to see Aghanim's Tower in the dark. At least some amount of it.
I really do hope that this goes well for her. Very, very tricky. Props to her for going for this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not a lot I can say besides I'm very looking forward to watching, hoping it goes very well.
Yeah, this should be interesting. First dark room is coming up right now. This one's pretty easy. You just kind of walk down left. The following is where it gets difficult. Okay, she may have just forgotten about the dark room.
Yeah, I think she may have forgotten.
That's too bad.
I'm like cards on the table. I'm like a little bit like I can't even put into words. I was a little bit excited to watch. But I think this is good. I think it's probably better for her.
Yeah, for sure. So Vasco's going to finish up Skullwoods, while EmoSaru might be checking out some more overworld in the dark world. Maybe Pyramid and Catfish. Maybe eventually making it back to Eastern Palace. Oh wait.
Oh, she's gonna get those 30 bombs. No.
Oh. I don't know. You were hoping that she maxed out her bomb counter. With all that cash, might as well.
Gotta get the economy flowing.
All right. Now it might be Eastern Palace. I'm going to keep predicting it until it ends up being right. And which is on the screen of the dungeon, maybe the best time to predict it.
Vasco's about to enter Moth here, so be curious to see. I forgot if we got all the items here. I think we're still looking for one, but I'll be curious to see what Moth has. And then of course, oh no, my apologies. I thought it was one of the required quests for Fat Fairy. Never mind.
Wow, his health dropped so fast.
Ooh.
I mean that. I forgot how dangerous Mothula can be when he hits you so rapidly. Wow. Trying the hammer strat as well, which is, definitely a difficult or very dangerous way to do the fight. But they're really, I mean, what other options do they have? They could use the fire rod for some of the fight, but not enough magic to finish him off. Unless you have a full bar and hit him every single time. Fighter sword does even less damage than the fire rod. Yeah, just a tough fight.
I know this spikes to 1 damage and the beam does 2, and so it can definitely add up very quickly. I don't know how much Moth itself does.
I believe that is 2 as well.
Yeah, very, very dangerous if you don't have too many resources. And it looks like he went for the cape, and unfortunately, as useful as the cape is, it has a little bit of a delay between using, so it didn't quite work out for him there. It was a good idea for sure, but
yeah. Yeah, Mothula is one of the few Dark World bosses that actually will take damage from regular attacks from the fighter sword. So using the cape to protect yourself so you can continue using the sword afterward is not a bad choice. Yeah, you can see he's conserving some magic on the torch room this time, so he'll have a little more by the time he gets to the boss. That may end up helping him out. He may opt to use one of the magic consuming items from the start and then default back to the hammer or sword as a later fight option.
I really like that movement from him. He just walked right under the zombie and everything, and then powered and got the fairy. So, for me, I'd probably be a little bit nervous, but calculated.
All right, starting with the hammer. To be fair, the beginning of the fight is when the least is going on. It's the least hectic time, so it probably is the best time to use the hammer since it is a little more dangerous. Then later in the fight, when it becomes more hectic, switching to a safer item might be a better idea. See how it works out for him this time. Emo taking down Armos at the same time.
It's very good.
Definitely an easier fight than Mothula.
One thing I like to use the Fire Rod. I'll know if it's very unfortunate for Vascos here. I'll know if it's the most efficient, but I almost like to use the Fire Rod just to get the moth out of the corner or force movement from it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the best uses of it, actually. When he's hiding behind the spikes or hugging the wall and you can't do any damage to him, throwing the Fire Rod at him will sometimes get him to jump around a little, and he may end up in a better position to continue. That's just going for the magic backup that you mentioned earlier.
It's very interesting how this race has been panning out, especially between not only the racers' decisions, but then the ups and downs that have happened for both of them. It's kind of endearing in a way, actually. It's a very good matchup, very, very entertaining race.
Yeah.
EmoSaru going for the plus-size model fairy check. Definitely like this decision.
Yeah, oh man, Vascos, after all the trouble he had getting that statue in place, ended up getting wall mastered, and he's going to have to do it all over again. EmoSaru came for this bomb earlier. I think maybe she forgot that she hadn't done Eastern Palace, so maybe she didn't intend to do it before, but just by an oversight, forgot to do it.
Nerves are something that can really get to players, especially myself, so I could totally understand, given the scenario, that little things can happen. It's hard to say. You never know. The players obviously know more. Can't be too presumptuous, but there's a mail upgrade for EmoSaru. That will be very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good of her to pair the pyramid check with the Fat Fairy. You can't always do it, but if you can, it's definitely a very efficient thing to do. Vasquez getting his magic refill. And there are the Titans minutes. That's huge. Wow. That just opened everything up.
Yeah, that's really important. Oh man, unfortunately she still can't get that hook shot. So it doesn't open up all of East Death Mountain in the Dark World, for example. Hook shot doesn't really block too much else. I mean, we don't know if Swamp's going to be required still.
She does have access to, Dark World Death Mountain. Unfortunately, like you're saying, no hook shot, so she can't check the hook shot cave, but still has a few other options here. Hopefully she'll end up getting pushed back into Fuse Town before too late, but she's still making progress. She's still making progress, still moving, so things are still going very good for her. And hopefully Vascos, it looks like he's checking the rest of the dungeon. I don't know if he's going to go back to Moth, but it looks like he's trying to consolidate his situation, which I think is a very good idea.
Yeah. Now, and are we finally going to see Zora's Domain? Anything good here? They're still lacking the real flippers, so the Waterfall of Wishing, the new location with 2 chests in it, right outside of Zora's Domain, cannot be checked just yet. Not like this, anyway.
It's pretty interesting because they have the Pearl, so they did have the option of going to Ice Rock Cave area to fake flipper to go into the Waterfall cave to come up to Zora, but because it's not in the logic and they have so many items now, maybe her thinking was it's not worth it, and then it is a little bit of time to go there.
Yeah. Oh man, that rock takes so long to lift. Those birds are relentless. Well, we don't know if the mushroom is required or not. He was hoping to find out. Maybe he'll go back for that at some point. And you were talking about doing fake flippers. That reminds me, have either of them actually checked the Ice Rod Cave?
It's a very good question. I was trying to think, like, I don't think any of them had checked Zora. Vascos might have, but I don't think they've checked Ice Rod either.
Yeah, I think
unfortunately,
Vascos...
this far into the run, it it's one of those plays that happens so often that it can get a little fuzzy to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, Vascos, I think he just did fake flippers to the hobo right away. And Nemo, unfortunately, took a death there, so we were not able to actually see the Ice Rod Cave at all. With the Fire Source, EmoSaru can do the rest of the Tower of Hera. So that'll at least be some progress toward the end goal of 7 crystals.
It'd be really interesting if that mushroom happened to be like flute or something.
Oh, man.
And then between Saru finding the mitts and then the flute opening up a mire and desert.
Man, what a strange situation we found ourselves in.
It's very curious, but I'm really enjoying it. Saru got her break, so take 5, grab a coffee, get ready to blow up these 10 in maybe about 15 minutes.
Someday. Using the cape this time to get the mushroom. He needs to make sure he saves at least some magic for the bumper. Okay, he should have plenty.
Oh, don't take a hit. This is scary.
You can't light those torches if you're standing directly next to them from the left or the bottom, I believe, with the fire rod. Really annoying thing that can come up. We saw a little bit there for Emo.
Mushroom get for Vascos. Hopefully it turns into something, but it's one of those items, being... Ugh.
Wow, didn't I say they were
Death warp to Light World to
turn in the mushroom?
Check the witch.
Yeah, good strategy.
I really hope he does the fake flipper cave to Zora and mushroom area.
Yeah,
because he could fake flipper and check the waterfall cave and then leave, check mushroom, and then go back. It's a little, it's kind of awkward to route, but I think that would probably be a decent idea.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much of a more efficient way to kind of combine all those things, because he could maybe go up in the Dark World, because I don't think he's checked Catfish yet, to check 1 more location, but then he'd be checking 2 less locations as well. So yeah, either way you do it, there's going to be a little inefficiency.
For sure. And looks like we are getting our Ice Rod Cave check here. Blueberries.
Okay.
Nothing too big.
Could you imagine if that had been like the flute or something this whole time?
That's something about doing a race. I'm like, oh, I didn't check this area. Everyone else checked it. It had the boots. And here I am, like,
yeah,
just a story going through your own head. Meanwhile, EmoSaru fighting Moldorm. Very interesting boss. A lot of them run on scripts. Him, not so much. He kind of runs on rage fuel.
Yeah, he has a pattern. I think it's 5 movements that alternate between rotations and straight movements, and the duration of each is randomized. And then his 5th or 6th, I think, is always a movement towards the player. I don't remember the script exactly, but it's so random. But he does track you a little bit, which helps with strategy a little bit.
So I'm wondering if Vascos will do the reverse fake flipper here to get back and check the other things.
Oh, okay. I thought he was the one who already checked Hobo. What am I thinking of? Am I thinking of a different race or something? Wow.
That fake flipper can be a little bit scary, because if you don't do it quite right, you will actually jump through the screen transition, and I believe you will soft lock. So it's unlike the other fake flipper things they do, where you can kind of fail it and it's somewhat inconsequential. That one, if you fail it, you can soft lock.
Mm-hmm. You don't fully crash the game, so you don't lose progress or have to go back to a previous save if you know how to recover. But there's a big time loss spent waiting to regain control of the player. What actually happens, in the fake flipper soft locks, is the game does detect that you're jumping into water without the flippers, and at that moment when the soft lock happens. And so the game tries to put you back on the pixel from which you originally jumped into the water. And if that happens to be on a screen very far from where you started, then it takes a very long time because the camera is sort of scrolling, even though it doesn't appear to be. It's trying to scroll all the way back to that position on the overworld, which worst case scenario I think can take a couple minutes at most.
Something interesting is Saru did check the Dark World chests and unfortunately only found rupees in a single arrow. And then while you were giving that awesome explanation, Vascos actually grabbed 2 heart pieces, and that undoes the water walk glitch. It if you saw like takes death, Saru gets the master. Lots going on right now.
Master Sword and Blue Mail, strengthening the player a little bit there.
It is nice when your weapons and shields and everything can match, but I don't think it's worth skipping a floating island for
unfortunately
for accessorizing.
Yeah, unfortunately they already have the level 2 shield, which means they need to get the red mail and the red sword before getting the level 3 shield. Maybe we can match for a while.
I think I would take a page out of Tara's book and I would let the shield get stolen for the sake of continuity here.
It technically does reduce lag a little bit.
Vascos making the Fat Fairy play. Very good. He'll get his mitts. And yeah, I mean, lots of options left on the table. So I'd be very curious to see where these turns go.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that he hasn't gone and gotten the hook shot yet.
Yeah.
But I really hope he didn't forget.
I'm thinking maybe he might use this opportunity to mirror to the balcony of Hyrule Castle to go to Aghanor's Tower and maybe skip you know, the lower floor there. But with that much magic, is he going to be able to get through with the cape? I'm not sure if that little sliver is quite enough.
I don't know, but I'm excited. Vasquez now getting his mail upgrade. Probably wishes he had for Moth, and there is a glitch sprite on the screen.
Yeah, that happens when you bomb open this door here. It just sort of puts the door on a local coordinate position instead of a global one, and those repeat sometimes on the large screens.
This game is very cute, and that has a bunch of little things like that. Gives it a lot of charm.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, looks like Vascos is gonna do what I was hoping we'd see. I am pretty nervous that he doesn't have enough magic though. I don't think he has another potion or anything. Is it going to be enough? Instantly unpoofed.
Yeah, I think the magic that you had is the base amount for the activation itself. And so it was enough to activate it, probably be active for, I want to make up 1 frame, and then it would undo.
For whatever the interval is, I think with the magic cape, it works a little differently in that when you get like upgraded magic, instead of the amount of magic that it consumes changing, I think the interval of frames at which the magic is taken is what changes. It slows down. So whatever one interval is how long he was able to keep that active. And yeah, it's just a few frames, I think. And we're in Ice Palace, everybody's favorite dungeon, I'm pretty sure. At least that's what I hear all the time.
I actually really do like the dungeon. It can be very polarizing, but it's, I think, one of the funner ones to do.
Polarizing.
But, very, yeah. But it's very interesting that she fake flippered into here. So breaking, now this is more of a sequence break that we have not seen during this run. Unlike the lamp, where we know from Vascos' end that EmoSaru is not actually truly sequence breaking, though in her headspace she probably was. Here she's actually fake flipping into Ice Palace.
Yeah, so at the very least we know we're not going to find the flippers here, but with the information we have, we can't really rule out anything else for sure. Well, except like the hook shot.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see cane or flute here, but besides that,
oh yeah,
doesn't really seem like there can be anything else. We don't, can we, is the option of a pistol seed still open?
That's a good question. I haven't really been thinking about that. Just at a quick look, I want to say maybe a medallion is the only option remaining.
Yeah, because we don't know what Meyer is, I believe, and so we only know Turok, and we do have a medallion for Turok. Because it's locked by the cane, there's not going to be anything in there. I mean, maybe flute, but then we're starting to get into a, I don't know if I would call it a troll seed, but kind of a stringy seed.
Yeah. Well, troll seed is kind of an average seed these days.
I think troll is like 9 parts headspace, and then like 1 part like, yeah, okay, no, that was actual troll.
Yeah.
Triple dipping Turtle Rock to you know, like,
right. Or man, could you imagine like having to go into Ganon's tower to get an item to complete pendant dungeons to get the boots from the pedestal to get the big key in Ganon's tower? Oh man, that'd be a great scene.
Last time I had to dip Ganon's tower, I needed the bow, and you got powder from Ganon's tower to go to the Batcave to get the bow.
Nice. That's the kind of seed we're always hoping for as viewers, but hoping not for as players.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange dichotomy between playing a seed and hoping for something and then watching a seed. It's kind of like, I don't really care that much about a pest seed personally, because I feel it can equalize a lot of the routing and decisions players have made. But some people really enjoy seeing it, and they can definitely be fun too. But it's really interesting how these can play out in terms of player preferences. And that was a very nice farm jump by EmoSaru. That was very quick.
Yeah, I got down on the lowest pixel, which is a requirement like immediately, like first try. So that was really fast. Meanwhile, Vascos gonna take another try at Motila.
Let's go. He's got his blue mail. He's got his full magic.
Probably brought a potion.
Got his motivation.
Yeah, took a stop at the potion shop earlier.
Just I guess to finish the point on EmoSaru's bomb jump, I don't really see that set very often. People tend to opt for a little bit of a different setup where you place the bomb northward of your position.
Yeah.
So that was very, very curious. That was very very impressive.
If you're facing left, and you're not touching the block, if you're just a little bit right of that, and you're as far low as you can be, you can actually place the bomb and not have to move after placing it. So that's what I would say is the simplest setup, but also a little bit uncommon.
Screw attack, Ether Medallion, or the Franklin Badge, whichever you prefer. Found in Ice Palace. Very, very good. That might be Meyer Axis right there.
It could be. The medallions, unfortunately, have very little other purpose other than being pretty awesome weapons in a casual playthrough. Bombos is the only one that really has another purpose in a randomizer, and that is to get you through Ice Palace, which will obviously not come into play here because we're watching a player get through Ice Palace without it already. And there goes Motila.
From Vascos. Got him, and there's the flute.
Yeah, of course.
That's huge.
That's so... Oh, man. They've both been to Motila. Oh.
This is like... Oh, my goodness. This is such a good race.
Wow. Well, we might be learning more about Misery Meyer's requirements very soon.
Yeah, he does have the mitts, so you can do Misery Meyer. Has the mirror, so you can do desert. Has the boots, so desert. Regardless if it's boot locked, will not matter. So he definitely has a strong advantage here. EmoSaru is making time on a crystal dungeon, but is definitely not in as comfy as position, I'd say.
Yeah, what's really kind of unfortunate for EmoSaru is she's had to enter a few dungeons and then leave. And only gone back to redo and to finish one of them, really, which was the Tower of Hera. And that was the one that didn't have anything else useful in it. She goes back for Thieves Town or Skullwood. She's going to find something that she's going to like.
Has a potion for the fight. chooses to use it, which is a very good idea. Gets a double kill and the finish. That's
nice.
very good.
Yeah, with Cold Stare, if their explosions are desynchronized, it actually adds like a huge amount of lag, like a second or more. That's one of the reasons why the quick kill is so good in a normal speedrun, obviously. In a randomized, when you only have the Master Sword, there is no such thing as a quick kill. That's a fun fact about that fight.
So it looks like we are getting the Mar check, and it happens to be Quake.
Okay.
So Ether, past memes at this point, isn't really going to play much of a factor.
That's too bad. Always nice to see medallions come into play since they're so strategically useless. All right, we might be seeing one of these dungeons for EmoSaru.
Oh, and there's a Candice Maria on the ledge. That's huge. Oh my goodness. This is not, yeah. I mean, Saru already completed Ice Palace, but I think that's pretty much, we pretty much got everything. Assuming Vascos has not forgotten about Hookshot, I think,
yeah.
Is that go mode? Oh no, well, we still need no, Swamp is Pennant, and they can Flake Flipper, so we're kind of in go mode, I think.
Yeah, it's not official go mode by the logic, just because of Ice Palace. But with the skills that the players have, yeah, they have, or he will have everything he needs. As soon as he gets that hook shot.
Yes, no mode, as chat is indicating.
More overworld locations here, which unfortunately we now know are not going to pay off too well. Could find maybe an upgraded sword or the silver arrows or some luxury item like that, but nothing mandatory.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate too. Like, I think it's a really good idea that she's checking this area, and then Thieves' Town's right there. But unfortunately, because she has the mirror, she'll probably get the purple chest and then check that before going to Thieves' Town.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, yeah, just kind of how things go. It's a little bit unfortunate. She can still pull us back, of course, but this is something that Vascos will probably never end up doing just because of his position.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless he maybe forgets about the Master Sword on Death Mountain, goes through Ganon's Tower, finds no swords, and then starts searching for a level 2 sword. I don't think he's going to really be searching much of anything. I imagine we'll see him do what do we call it? Semi-go mode dungeons, where you pick up a couple chests along the way, just for the potential to find a sword.
Yeah, and she's doing it, guys. Get hype.
She'll
get her lamp
here. Here it is. She may do Aghanim's Tower immediately after this. She may do Skullwoods first, which would be great for her.
Yeah, she's got the blue mail. She's got the Master Sword, which is something to note. Vascos does not yet have the Master Sword, so I don't think it's come into play too much. But it's one of those things where, you know, even just a sword upgrade can definitely, you know, change the amount of time it takes to do some things, and a player can get a bit of advantage. But I expect she'll get her lamp here, and then she might make a beeline for Aga Tower to get the hook shot. And then she might assume that the hook shot will end up leading to the flute, which it would be really good. She is in the area though, at Skullwoods to Crystal, so you would hope that she would go for that. Neither is, you know, a bad play by any means, but, you know, knowing what we know, I think it'd be best if she went to Skullwoods.
Yeah, for sure. Vascos tried to start this fight off with a fire rod. Got a few hits before running out of magic, and now it's cleaning it up with the hammer. Gotta say, hammer on bosses went pretty well for him on a Helmosaur, but hasn't really been the best for other fights. And rewarded with a sword upgrade.
Did good though. Got his crystal, and imagine. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure where he'll go from here. He's got a few options. He could go to Turtle Rock. Maybe do that earlier. Could fake Flipper into ice.
I think that's probably the better option. Oh well. He's gonna finally do Aghanim.
Oh,
first.
okay, good. I was worried he forgot, but no, he knows.
Yeah.
It kind of ties into what was mentioned earlier, where you might not actually need the hookshot for a long time, and so in terms of routing and where you do everything, it kind of gets pushed back to later. But here we go. He's going for his hookshot, so that'll be good for him.
Yep. He can even slash the lightning lock. Doesn't need to pull out that cape. That might bring back some bad memories of a few minutes ago. 2 spins with the Master Sword to cut these guys. Interestingly, the Master Sword slash does not do more damage than the Fighter Sword slash, so it would actually take 8 slashes to kill those guys, but only 2 spins. The damage is, in fact, quadrupled. Very rare for unusual multipliers like that to happen, but that's one of the few cases where it does. There's a few other funny things like that can happen, like, for example, spinning with the Fighter Sword actually does half as much damage against the Armos Knights, for whatever reason.
It's pretty interesting. I was looking at the damage tables for some of the weapons, and I'm kind of like, oh, that's a little strange. But it's definitely good stuff to check out, especially if you're more a frequent player or just interested in the game itself, the little nuance.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Ooh, is it going to be Skullwoods next?
It looks like it is. So this will be really good for her. She got her lamp, she'll have her flute. So a lot will be open to her. After that, then it'll kind of just be a bit of a 50-50 between going to the Mire Desert area and grabbing the hookshot. I kind of expect that she'll grab the hookshot, just knock it out, and then she might go to Mire area. But it'll be really interesting because the hookshot could lead her to Death Mountain, but Desert and Mire being a quick check, having the mirror, I think it's probably the better option in terms of, again, just having a quick check. But I'll be curious to see what they do.
Yeah, I think I'd probably do Aghanim first, just because I like to do something that I'm like a guaranteed find is better than a potential find. And then I probably wouldn't go up Death Mountain just yet, because you can definitely finish Desert even if you don't find anything there. There's another crystal you can get down, and on the off chance that you find like the Cane of Samaria there, then you can combine Death Mountain with Turtle Rock, which is what would end up being the case. Of course, I say that already knowing that it's there, but I'm pretty sure that's what I would have done anyway. You can choose whether or not you want to believe that.
No, I think that was pretty on the mark.
This is also a rematch for Emo.
Ooh, oh, this is scary. that hand there. That was slick. Like, that was really good. And she's also opting to do, I guess, a mix of hammer and fire rod. This is pretty interesting. Doing very well so far.
Meanwhile, Vascos is waiting through a slightly interactive cutscene called Aghanim.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe if you grab the wall at the very top, you actually save 1 frame.
While the lightning is going on, I think what ended up being confirmed was that if you're standing above a certain position, possibly when the camera moves and it's locked to the top, that's actually what ends up being the frame save. On some bosses...
No. Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay, I was just rambling.
No, it was really good. Just for the sake of the for the race, Saru
Right.
took a death and then save and quit out of Skullwood, so that is really bad.
Yeah.
I just don't like that's kind of why I intro, because that I just feel so bad.
Yeah, they both I think they both ended up dying to Mothula twice. The boss that ends up holding such an important item. Although, you know what? If she could find the book, she wouldn't actually need the flute at all, would she? It'd be nice to have, but I guess she wouldn't need it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, she's totally still poised to do well here, but
Yeah,
just
I mean,
heartbreak.
she'll have to kill Mothiel eventually anyway, but it's not like missing that now is gonna prevent any other progress potentially. I mean, we don't know, of course. We'll see what happens.
I think Moth, even though it's not as far that you need to go, Moth is one of the worst boss giants simply because of magic. There is a magic refill, but it's not close, and it feels farther when you're playing the game than it may be. And it's just very grating. You can try and go back into the area, go to their mummy's tower, grab the potions, and then, or the refill, and then try and get grabbed and reset. And like, there's little things that you can do, but it's not like you can just run back to the boss and you have a fair start. You need to light the torches. Vascos grabbing his hook shot, so it's really good. Gazelle Manicus. And off to the rest of the mountain.
Oh yeah, maybe we can do Turtle Rock first. Flippers, honestly, they're probably in Turtle Rock. Maybe the Hookshot Cave, but not many other locations that they even could be at this point.
It's very curious, and as you say that, he's opting not to fake Flipper into ice, so playing it is very much, for the most part, by the logic. Not that there is a lot of craziness for them to do, but I guess he just figures that maybe there may be a sword upgrade or some extra safety or something for ice, but you can do Turok. Turok's a great option, and Hookshot Cave, and yeah.
Indeed. Looks like he was trying to do a cute little trick called a hookshot clip in that cave. Didn't quite work for him. Luckily, it's not required. There's just a short path you got to walk around to get past those blocks. Emo's back in Agnes Tower, nearly completed it. This time she can see her way around, so a lot more smooth this time.
I wasn't actually counting, but do you know how many blue balls were actually in this fight?
Oh, I can't watch Aghanim fights or I'll fall asleep, so I have no idea.
I think there are at least 3, but I wasn't counting.
We can count to save it.
And I'm pretty sure Vasco saw that there is a sword on the floating island, so he'll get his temper here, which will be very good. He might feel a lot more comfortable with temper for Cold Stare. I know for myself, I'm practiced the temper sword strategy much more than anything else. So
yeah,
you know, sometimes familiarity is really huge.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I even like to use regular arrows on Ice Armos instead of silver arrows, just because I'm so much more familiar with that fight. I'm afraid of what'll happen if I try the silver arrows, and I got to chase one of them down or something. That's going to be the level 3 sword for him.
Yeah, we have the Sword of Evil's Bane, and then you give it to some dwarves, and they smack on it for a little bit, and here you go.
Yeah, he actually bonked to the one chest that you don't need the hookshot to check, and then didn't check the other chests. Like, he's got in his head they didn't have a hookshot for so long. He's now forgotten that he does have it.
It's really cute, actually. I didn't even notice that, because you could think of it as like, oh, well, he's in go mode. Like, he doesn't need to do it. But the fact that he bonked the first few chests is
yeah, somewhat
adorable.
All right, so I saw 2 lightning cycles, and the first shot after the second lightning killed Aghanim. Based on math, that means there were 3 blue balls, which is average and also the most common. Loses 24 seconds compared to 0. And we're in Turtle Rock.
Turtle Rock is a pretty fun but also volatile dungeon. It's the kind of dungeon where if there are items you're looking for, going through it isn't really that much different from going through the main path. So it can definitely, in terms of strategy, play a bit of a role. And if you have the flute, then you can do some shenanigans where you check the light world and let you mirror out on the ledge, flute, check the light world, and then come back. And it's a very, I think, understated dungeon to route. A lot of people like to leave it for the last, and you know, so they can pair it with Ganon Tower, which is a very smart idea. But I think there's a subtlety to it that goes a little bit understated at times.
Yeah, it's an okay dungeon. I kind of like it. I'm not good at the block blast though, so I can't show off like you do. But I'm good at pokies, so I can show off in that room instead.
Vascos getting the best armor upgrade. Turns you purple. Also makes you more resilient.
Yeah, so I believe that means that his outfit now officially matches. Red mail, red sword, and red shield.
And always a good time. It's the memes aside, this run is now validated for me.
EmoSaru gonna get that hook shot. See where that leads her next. The best item density would be to go straight up Death Mountain. Fortunately, without the Candace Moria, she wouldn't be doing Turtle Rock while up there. Going back into the Dark World here. Oh, back to Skullwoods. Okay. Yeah, if you go in through the entrance that she was just about to go towards there, you actually cannot get to the dungeon. It's fully cut off. So yeah, she'll have to go into a different entrance to the woods.
Hopefully now things will go a little bit better. I imagine they will. Meanwhile, Vasco's finding Big Key in Vanilla Big Key spot.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want it to be there because it does cost an extra small key to get to it. Being able to save an additional one can be nice. Although usually you're going to have to check the big chest for the potential for a small key to be there anyway, unless you got the best key luck possible, which I hardly ever see. Ooh. Hitting a Poke with a Sword Beam is actually kind of bad. You can quick kill them by doing a spin in the way that the spin hits it twice. But if you do a smaller form of damage than a spin, then 2 spin hits will actually not kill it. So doing 2 spins in a beam actually does less total damage than just 2 spins because of the strange way that they work.
That's really interesting. And that was a very good, you did good in that room too. I know I've had trouble with that room here and there at times. I need to hit up Blunt for the 16 RNG patterns or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the expert. Probably the only active speedrunner who actually does that room correctly.
For now.
Right.
No, there's so much little nuance to the game that no, there's definitely still a lot on the table for players. And as old of a game as it is, with Rando being newer, it's personally exciting for me as more of a newcomer. Just a lot of little things to check out and explore and round out in gameplay. And...
Oh yes, so much depth to this game. It's amazing. I'm sure that when it was designed, they did not intend for the skill ceiling to be so high that competitive play is actually a possibility in the game. Hopefully, if any of those developers are still around and know about this kind of thing, hopefully they're happy about it. Hopefully they like to see it. I would for sure if I was a game developer.
So it looks like Vascos is opting to take a safety room. I think that's really smart. And doing the Lizard Bridge here. You know, Saru doing the moth fight. It's going alright. She got some very solid hits in, and there we go. Okay. That was very good.
Alright. Finally getting revenge. Getting the flute. Not happy that knowing that she missed out on the flute for so long, but probably happy to finally have it. And yeah, let's see where that takes her. Hopefully to Mire/Desert for the Canis Maria, and then she'll be on her way to completing this as well.
Vascos about to enter Trinex.
Yeah, good fight to have the level 3 sword on. It makes a pretty big difference compared to the level 2.
Yeah, she's on her way to activate that flute. I'm sure that makes her very happy to have. And I'll be curious to see where she goes from there. Vasco's got one head down, about to get the other one.
Yep.
Looks very good so far.
Gonna try to release the spin at just the right time to hit the second phase twice with the spin, and then it'll just require a single slash to finish the fight. Didn't quite get that, but it's only 3 slashes if you miss the double. On the spin, finishing him off. Easy fight. Sometimes. Alright, that just leaves 1 crystal remaining for Vascos. It's going to be Ice Palace. Interestingly, the flippers were not in Turtle Rock, or at least he didn't find them while he was here. So he is going to end up having to do fake flippers anyway to get there.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. It's pretty curious. I wonder where the flippers are, but you know, thankfully, like you said earlier, these players are very skilled, so shouldn't be an issue at all.
Yeah, he's going
Point of
straight
fact
there.
is we saw him do it a little bit earlier, so here he goes to do it.
Yep.
Sorry, in fact, checking Desert Mire area. This is very good.
Yeah, she'll be able to get her last required item here. Desert's a quick dungeon to do, and after this she'll only have Turtle Rock remaining. So we'll be making her way up there probably when Vascos is finishing up Ice Palace, or maybe a little bit sooner. Maybe not. I'm not really good at estimating time.
Yeah, she does have an added bonus that she can actually pair Turtle Rock with the Ascent to Ganon, so she'll save some time there. So
yeah,
definitely still a lot of race left. It really could come down to a left side, right side gamble in Ganon Tower, depending on how things play out here.
Yeah, it definitely could. It's always exciting when a race comes down to that. Vascos can do go mode Ice Palace. Doesn't need to stop for any chests. He may opt to choose to open maybe one that's very in the way, just for the chance of silver arrows. On the Ganon fight with the Tempered Sword, if the fight is executed very well, the silver arrows save only about 20 to 30 seconds, but it takes a lot less than 20 or 30 seconds to check a few chests along the way.
There is also some comfort in where if you don't have half magic and, you know, if you don't get the torch glitch or something, then you have a little bit of safety with the silver arrows, a little comfort. But, yeah, it's pretty interesting how, you know, they can play into, you know, if you know where the silver arrows are, if you want to bother getting them versus trying to not bother with them.
Yeah.
Very nice bomb jump from Vascos.
Yeah, he was using the save and quit menu there to help to judge his position without advancing in-game time at all. It's a good technique. If you're a little bit uncomfortable with exact pixel precision, it can give you a lot more time for confirmation.
Sorry, about to go into Lamola here. And, yeah, fortunately for Vascos, like you're saying, he gets to go mode Ice Palace. Probably checked a chest or two on the way just for the sake of it. Again, for silvers or butter or what have you. But nope, gonna go straight to the boss. In it to win it.
For sure. Let's see how EmoSaru handles Lamola's. Probably start with the Fire Rod. Master Sword isn't stronger than the Fighter Sword with regular slashes, but with spin attacks it does do twice as much damage. Not a bad way to finish out the fight. Yeah, really clean there.
Very nice 2-cycle.
And there's the level 3 sword for her. So they're going to go down. After getting a spin on each of them, it's only 6 slashes each. Keeping them stun locked in the corner as long as possible is ideal.
Very solid fight. He gets his key to the area he's not going to go to. And now I believe everyone knows what time it is.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what time it is. You're going to have to explain it.
We like to play a game here where you get to count how many chests it'll be until you find the big key in Ganon Tower. I think I'm going to go with 12.
12? Wow, that's a strange number to pick. Oh, man. I don't know. It's going to be... it's going to be number 1. It's going to be number 1 for one of them. Number 22 for the other. Someone's gambling on the tile room. And not even getting the 2 other chests first. From what I understand, it is faster to climb all the way up Death Mountain to get into the Dark World at Turtle Rock instead of using the lower warp and then climbing in the Dark World. I personally do like to go to the Dark World at the bottom of the mountain because this way you have to deal with squirrels like 2 less times. And for me, that's worth it. Worth a few second time loss. And then we're going to see the hookshot clip from Vascos. Was not able to do it earlier, but did do it successfully on the second try.
It's definitely a very tricky clip. You can get it like 9 times out of 10, and then it's that one time, and you're just like, ugh. But Saru entering Turok here, so she'll cruise on through it. She's very well poised to just go on through, go to Ganon Tower. I'll be curious to see what path routing Vascos takes here.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with his playstyle to take a guess. Do you think if he gets a key, if he goes right side first, if he gets a key, you think he'll go full right?
Very nice. Doing the hookshot. I'll know what the name for it is, but the glitch where it lets you go the stairs quicker.
Oh, the sword climb.
Yeah, it saves more time than one might think, but if anything, it just feels really good to do. And so far, not on number 1, unfortunately.
Okay. That means EmoSaru is going to have to gamble in the tile room. Again, skip the first 2 chests and just go straight to get the key from the left side, then go right side, skip the 2 chests, go straight to the tile room. Then I could be correct.
If it, if that happened to have a big key, that'd be huge. But number 2, number 3, lots of money. Not number 4. Number 5? No, just a little bit of love.
Ooh, it's going to be Dark Magician route. A route originally conceived by a guy named Christos Owen. But Dark Magician is the strongest advocate of it of all time. Oh. Well, it could be number 1 still for somebody, but it's not going to be number 22 for anybody.
And certainly not number 12 for me. So I believe if you were number 6, you have won this time.
These chomps are not behaving.
No, they're
about to attack. Oh man, yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure someone invented Randomizer just that the chomps would not be here.
But they could be everywhere else.
That's true, but this space is a little bit cramped.
Chain chomps are kind of a cool enemy. It's unfortunate that they only appear in one room in the whole game. Turtle Rock is basically the Mario dungeon, as we know, based on the presence of Pokies, chomps, and a method of travel through pipes. Maybe even the platforms, the moving platforms. I don't know. You could call it the platforming dungeon, maybe. Maybe not.
I never really thought that, so it's pretty funny.
Right.
A very astute observation.
Wow, thanks. That's very nice of you to say.
I also heard someone call it the internal organ dungeon. but I think
wow.
I like yours a little bit better.
Well, you know, I can kind of see that. I mean, it definitely evokes a certain visual.
Meanwhile, Vasco's flying through the gauntlet here, doing a very good job. Gauntlet can be very up and down, and there's some RNG to it as well. So
Yeah.
Doing a very good job here, using the fire rod, making good use.
Yeah, definitely not underpowered at this stage of the game. Luckily, we're not seeing low heart, green mail, master sword, Ganon's tower. Still a very difficult dungeon. The risk of dying is low, especially with powder and a potion on reserve, but it's still a very difficult dungeon to do well.
Yeah, and it was kind of, they had a very nice progression in terms of safety and what they had through the seed, and kind of peppered it along, and then for the end right here, they got their red mail and their sword, and it's a little bit of a nice little hug towards the end. Saru picking up her bomb upgrade. Always a great thing to get.
Yeah. Just in case you want to kill Vitreous with only bombs, which requires, oh man, like 55 or something, like more than the maximum amount.
Ooh, I like that hookshot used by Saru. She's about to finish up here, and then she'll be on her way to Ganon Tower.
Ooh.
Vascos not having magic for these torches. A little...
Yeah, there is.
A little nerve-wracking.
There is enough in this room, as long as you don't make too many mistakes. I think he still did have that potion, though.
He'll get the one here, and yeah,
Okay.
he still has potion, so he's doing good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fine. Full magic refill in between the two torch rooms as well. We'll make the second one not really a concern.
Saru also opting to bomb open the wall. Again, I think it's a very smart thing. It costs almost no time, and then in the event that the laser room doesn't go very well, or you don't even want to use magic, just a very, very nice safety to have. Takes a lot of stress and anxiety away.
Yeah, actually, a cute thing you can do if you open this door, if you fall into a hole and get warped back to the door, you actually get invulnerability frames for enough time to walk all the way to the first chest. Right through the laser. It's just a cute little thing that doesn't really come up very often, but is a nice, safe way of getting to at least one of the chests.
Mm-hmm. Vascos fighting Moldrome 2, our second favorite boss in the game.
Right. I kind of like Moldham too. It's nice to come back at him with much stronger weapons than the first time.
That's true. And will he check the closure chest? He does, and gets bomb upgrades, so it's totally worth it.
Definitely worth it.
10 out of 10.
EmoSaru doing the backdoor Trinex strats.
Oh, that's very good.
That's the way to do the fight, if it goes correctly. Oh man.
Ooh, a little close.
Ooh, oh man. Okay.
Trinex looks cute, wagging his tail, but he's deadly.
He looks cute. Oh, if you say so. Oh, darn. Oh, so just have that checkpoint door open for the respawn.
Meanwhile, Vascos doing Aghanim 2 here.
Mm-hmm.
Just about finished him.
I hope he remembered to bring his protractor to the race for this fight. Ooh, and good last cycle there, actually.
Yeah, it's a triple, I think.
Yeah. Oh man, she's trapped in there with that pokey. Okay, got out. There's one thing I don't want to be trapped in a cage with. A pokey. Well, pokey's probably up high on the list.
Vascos falling into Ganon here. It's half magic, temper, red, so it should go well.
Yeah, I would think so. The fourth phase can be very difficult without the silver arrows if you don't have a lot of experience doing it. But with half magic, again, the risk of running out of magic or dying, especially with the potion, it's all very low. Worst case scenario, it's just not an optimal fight. And that, unfortunately, won't be enough to bring EmoSaru back into this.
Yeah, and he did a very nice one cycle phase 2 there, going into the corner and doing a charge sword strat. It was very well done. Saru finishing up, and Charnix has a block on his rear area.
Yeah, I had the wrong item equipped.
Oh, no.
Not enough magic to finish the fight. There's a full magic right before the fight, so it's not like she has to go out of her way to refill, but does have to re-enter the fight one more time.
And again, thankfully she has that area that she can get back to. Vascos entering phase 4 here. Going to be doing Silverless.
Yep. There's just a small timing window where you can hit Ganon right as he's about to warp. You can do it with this slash or a spin, but with the Tempered Sword, of course, the spin does more damage. And it's also a lot easier to hit. Ooh. I think we'll expect to see 2 hits per torch lighting. It's possible to get 3, but you got to really practice and really know the exact format of the fight for that to work. A triple, unfortunately, is just not something you get as a fluke on Ganon.
It's very close now.
Yeah, just 12 hits required.
The second phase of Charnix here.
Yeah, a lot of hearts this time. One more hit.
She's got it.
Yeah.
Very nice. Meanwhile, that is the end of Ganon on Vascos' end.
That's right.
So, barring any catastrophe, Vascos is our winner.
That's right, and that's going to be a second win in the best of 3 series. So, unfortunately, that does mean EmoSaru is going to be eliminated in the second round of the secondary tournament bracket stage. And Vascos will advance. Looks like his opponent is already known too.
He has finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 32 seconds.
B-Torb was here. You know, he actually did bonk into a tree that was filled with bees, which you don't see too much. It's almost as if it was like a prophecy after the fact. What do you call that? It's not a prophecy, you're just kind of saying something if it happens after the fact.
Yeah. EmoSaru entering Ganon Tower here, but I don't know if we can get a mod to pull Vascos in for a potential interview.
Oh,
but
I can do that, actually, if he's around.
Hello.
It looks like EmoSaru actually has ducked out of the race officially, but still finishing up the run there. Hey, Vascos.
Hello.
GG.
Yeah, thanks. I was surprised I won, actually. Holy.
How are you feeling overall?
I'm still shaking. I was so disheartened when I died to Mophula twice, and it ended up having flute.
Yeah, it's very interesting from our end. Unfortunately, your opponent actually also had a death to Moth, so it was a very back and forth match, made fairly exciting. But yeah, you did you did good though. You did great.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, with that win, you are going to be advancing in this tournament. Your opponent is actually already known. It's going to be Aaron Dobb. How are you feeling going up against him next?
I don't know. I don't even know if I'll be able to win a game.
You'll do fine. No, you did good. Any thoughts on the seed itself? I
was surprised that Go mode was this fast. actually, after finding flute, there was basically everything there.
Finding the hat and the cane on the ledge. It's like, oh well, that's that's either a Meyer welcome party or you know, a Turtle Rock invitation for good mode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess it was kind of lucky that that was the last item. Otherwise, it probably would have pointed right to Meyer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, most likely.
EmoSaru finishing out Gauntlet here. She won't be far behind. Unfortunately, she had a death in Thieves Town, which took her away from the lamp. And because she didn't have the lamp, I think it played into her her planning a little bit, and she put it off. She actually got to it somewhat soon, but it, you know, it's kind of like the little things that get to you. She did very well. She was actually leading at parts, but just the way it played out, it didn't work out the greatest, unfortunately. Still very solid from both players.
Yeah, I was expecting that. If something went wrong, it had to be to do with the lamp. Because that's... I mean, it made my Death Mountain so much faster. Just having that.
Yeah. Yeah, being able to do the Tower of Hera the first time you go through. She wasn't able to do that. And of course, having the option to go into Aghanim at pretty much whenever you wanted to after you got the cape and the lamp.
Oh yeah, that one. That was in pod, right? Okay.
Sorry?
The cape was in pod.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Saru at the torches here, so not too long before she's facing Aghanim too. So not too far behind. There was a lot of ups and downs in the seed. It's very entertaining to watch. Yeah, just a little unfortunate how some things went out, but you know, that's Rando, of course.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering why you ended up doing Turtle Rock before Ice Palace. Was that a mistake, or were you hoping to get the rail flippers?
No, I was just making sure that Quake was the medallion for Turtle Rock.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I've been there. Okay, I understand that.
That's smart. You don't want to be like, do I need the medallion? And obviously, full clearing ice is much better.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about just going to ice first, but like it doesn't give me that much, maybe like 30 seconds at most. But if Turtle Rock isn't Quake, then it's more than that.
Yeah,
for sure. So having a very nice Moldern too, and getting a bit of a movement trick there.
Yeah, the slope dash.
Oh yeah, nice.
Item 2 is actually one of my favorite fights to like practice, but it is like the most pressure in a run just because of how bad it can go with just some tiny little mistakes. Just a little positioning error and the angles are just way off.
So Mr. Vascos, is there something that you wish you did differently in the seed? And is there something that you're really happy that you didn't seed?
Apparently not. I thought I was coming into Ganon.
I was pretty happy about going into Thieves Town so early, but I kind of regret doing Houlihan instead of the backside of Escape, because that might have sped it up a bit.
Oh yeah. Since you ended up going to Zora so late, the rupees didn't end up helping out too much. You would have got the Moon Pearl a little earlier, but yeah, would have been a little bit better.
It can be hard to say, because Zora was one of the last few places besides the back of Escape, so it's kind of like you're setting up for it and planning really well, and it just unfortunately in that case didn't really pan out. Very nice one cycle from Saru here as well, so very solid Ganon too.
Yeah, it's just that like I was only missing Moonpearl for Dark World access. That's why it's not always the best play to do Julian at that point.
Well, when there's uncertainty about what you may be doing, there's really nothing wrong with preparing yourself for some of the possibilities. In that case, getting rupees for the potential early Zora play. Since the gloves were pretty early, Zora was an option very early.
Yeah, I very seldomly take the glove route for Zora.
Right. Yeah, it's very rare to see. I mean, most players in the tournaments at least know fake flippers, and they'll at least do that, unless they can find a more efficient way to combine it with Dark World, or of course just get real flippers before that point.
I think Saru is only a couple of hits left here, and then it will be GG.
Yep. Using the lamp just to conserve magic.
Oh yeah, she didn't find half magic. That was actually quite funny.
Yeah, it was near the end of Ganon's tower, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the last chest before Moldome 2.
Nice.
And there's the final hit, so GG to EmoSaru coming in second place. She has finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 15 seconds. Don't know if she'll want to come in for an interview, but we can most certainly find out. Okay, so it looks like she will come in for an interview, so we'll set that up shortly. And meanwhile, B-Torp was here.
Darn B-Torp.
Hello, Miss EmoSaru.
Hey, GG Vascos.
GG EmoSaru.
I wanted to forfeit that race about half an hour in. Because I don't know, like today my brain and my hands just were not communicating well. So, oh well.
It definitely happens, but you still did great. You had some really incredible strats, like the bomb jump in Ice Palace. Like there are a bunch of little things that were fantastic. So, absolutely, do not feel too bad about what happened. Though I do understand the feeling.
Yeah, I think if maybe I had died to Mothula like 3 less times and not failed Trinex for the first time in like 3 months, then we would have been different. But yeah, it was otherwise, I mean, it was all right.
Well, it's kind of funny because both of you kind of had your ups and downs in terms of the seed, so it made it very interesting from a watching standpoint. But what are your thoughts on the seed in general?
Well, this is the second time, I'm pretty sure, in our set, right, that we've had. Did we have something? Yeah. And this is the second time I've gone and checked Lumberjacks to find a thing. And that was unfortunate. And I did see Sakura Tsubasa in the race chat again. So, you know, just saying. But at any rate, I thought other than that, it would have been fine, to be honest. Like, if I had actually just killed Mothula the first time and actually finished Thieves rather than just bailing, like, I probably could have saved 25 minutes. So it was actually not a bad seed. I just made a couple of decisions and had a few deaths that were really bad.
Yeah, it's really surprising how impactful small mistakes can end up being in the long run. And it's really a shame, you know, when they're so when that happens in a race, especially.
Oh, totally. What did you think, Vascos?
Yeah, I think I did pretty well, but my routing was kind of weird at some point. Like, I went for a hype cave first after finding Moon Pearl.
So did I, actually.
And yeah, after that, just straight from Rice Game to the Powder Bed and Sick Kid. It felt pretty weird.
Yeah.
But I guess it was okay since Lamp was that late anyway.
Yeah, I think that the interesting thing is I actually would have gotten Lamp quite early had I just not screwed up so badly, like relative to the time at the end. But I don't know, it was definitely interesting. But it sounds like we actually did a lot of the same routing, to be honest, at least in terms of the weird stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of curious, especially like, the early game can get a little bit similar. But yeah, no, you two actually did have very similar plans for the most part. And then I would say probably the Lamp was when the real divergence start to kick in. And then kind of from there, little spider web, kind of treat out a little bit in terms of routing.
Totally. I also enjoyed when I finished Pod, forgot to mirror and do Eastern, forgot I hadn't mirrored and done Eastern, went to go open to get the Super Bomb, saw that it was not there, got really, really sad, and then decided to go do other stuff.
That hurts.
Yeah, it does. But it's just one of those days. It happened.
Yeah. I will say, though, after missing the Lamp as early as you did, you really did do really well in the dark rooms that you had to complete without it.
Yeah, if I didn't have to do Aga, I wouldn't have cared. Aga is literally the only dark room in the game that I care about because I can't do it. And so, yeah, it's kind of like, I think, our last race where if I knew how to hover, I could have won by like half an hour or something. But yeah, because you didn't need hookshot for anything other than Chi Tower.
Cards on the table. When you went to Aga Tower, I was getting a little excited.
Oh, really? For the dark room?
Yeah, I was really curious to see, but
no,
yeah.
I think I kind of wish I had my webcam on, so that you could have seen the look on my face when I walked through that door and remembered that it was dark. Because it was just like my whole body sadness, where it's like not just like a frown or a smirk, it's just like slump. And I was like, oh, right, crap.
Yeah, I've done the exact same thing. Just walked right in there all confident and happy, and yeah.
Yep, and then dejection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this would have been another seed where if you could hover, you could have skipped the hookshot, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Yep. We've had 2 of those, and it's been, it's kind of shocking. Like, I don't know what the odds of that are.
Is it maybe time for you to learn how to hover after that?
I've been working on it, but I can't do it consistently.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where like trying to, especially after a run like that where I was just totally like my brain was completely out of it. Even considering doing that, like I would have just made it worse for myself, even if I had gotten there and tried to do it. I was actually really surprised that I didn't lose by more than I did, to be honest. When I finally got the Lamp, I was like, oh, well, that's done. Like, that's the end of the thing. And was pretty sure I had lost after like the 4th Mothula death. But apparently I still had a chance at that point. Kind of.
Will definitely make for an interesting rewatch, that's for sure. It's a very entertaining race.
I'll probably take 3 days before I'm willing to rewatch this, but eventually I will.
I was gonna say, it's funny, a lot of the players that can hover, they're like, oh well, hovering's not that great, doesn't really save that much time,
Yeah.
But then we see these situations where maybe it would come in a little bit handy.
Well, and to have 2 of those in a row in the same set is just hilarious to me.
Yeah, secret conspiracy or
I would love to pin it on Saku, but she did not hand out the seed for the last one. So I can't, as much as I want to, I can't. Her and I have a history when it comes to seed generation.
I see. Well, is there any closing remarks from either player here?
GG Vascos. Like, honestly, I think even if I had played like I usually do today, I think it still would have been really close. And good luck in the next few rounds.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope to do as well as today, at least in the latter half of the run in the future.
Yeah, well, for my part, I definitely wish you good luck. Mr. Super Scudge, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, just congratulations again, and good luck in the future. As far as this broadcast, though, however, we're going to have to bring it to an end. If you want more, a link to the past randomizer, I believe there is another secondary tournament race starting at 6 o'clock over on ALTTP Randomizer 1. That should be a doubleheader between Zebra Unicorn and Key Aliens. So if you're interested, you might as well check that one out. Thanks for joining me on commentary today. It was definitely a fun one to do. My name has been Super Scudge. If anybody doesn't know that.
Yeah, my name is Gazelle Chef. Thank you to everyone who watched, supported, streamed, commentated, tried. Obviously can't say enough, but for my part, thank you very much and have a great day.